Communities come together in lots of ways: geography, hobbies, jobs, or sometimes because of a shared event, like the attacks on September 11th and the wars that followed. And when members leave a community, for whatever reason, the losses can change things forever. Today, on Story of the Day, Fort Drum, after September 11th.
Support for Story of the Day is provided by Long Run Wealth Advisors, an independent SEC-registered investment advisor in Lake Placid, offering tailored wealth management and retirement solutions. LongRunWealth.com.
Hey, I'm Celia Clark, and it's Friday, September 10th. First up, more than 500 paddlers took off from the starting line in Old Forge this morning for one of the Adirondacks' iconic races. The 90-miler canoe and kayak race runs over 3 days through Inlet, Blue Mountain Lake, Long Lake, Tupper Lake, and ending Sunday at Lake Flower in Saranac Lake. This is the 38th year of the event. It was canceled last year due to the coronavirus pandemic. Monica Sandreski talked with David Summerstein at the starting line shortly before he got on the water.
The Wave 1, the solo canoes and kayaks just took off, and the Wave 2, the guide boats, are just about to take off here in Old Forge.
Have you taken off yet? Wait, where are you?
No, I'm still on land. We're Wave 4. I'm in a 4-person boat, and we'll be canoeing 90 miles. Well, we'll be canoeing about 37 miles today to Blue Mountain Lake. And then tomorrow it's Long Lake. And then on Sunday, the Saranacs. And we wind up on Sunday in Saranac Lake. And I just got to say, Monica, it is like there's 500 boats or 500 paddlers on the beach here in Old Forge. And just super vibe. Everybody is so excited. You know, the race got canceled last year because of COVID. So everybody's super psyched to be back. It's really nice vibe.
Oh, that's wonderful. And of course, if listeners who are not participating want to come and check it out, it's starting today in Old Forge, but tomorrow... Oh.
Get set.
Was that the second wave, David?
Yeah, the second wave just took off. This is the guide boats, beautiful wooden boats, with sort of rowing backwards, and they're just cruising off on First Lake here.
Oh, that's lovely.
Wave three on the start line, please.
What else do you see?
I see Ryan Finnerty.
Yes!
Here's Ryan Finnerty is also going to be in a 4-person boat. Also, our Plattsburgh reporter. Also, Amy Feiereisel, one of our reporters, is going to be in a 4-person boat today. So North Country Public Radio well represented. There's Amy Feiereisel right now.
You can watch the race at several places throughout the weekend. Find out more at AdirondackForestCanoeTrail.org. Tomorrow will mark 20 years since the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001 killed almost 3,000 people. The effects of those events rippled all the way to the North Country, transforming the region's largest military base into one of the most active in the country. Ryan Finnerty looks back at how 9/11 unfolded on Fort Drum 20 years ago.
In late 2001, Doug Schmidt was an artilleryman assigned to the 10th Mountain Division. On the morning of 9/11, he was at a training center in Louisiana, preparing for a peacekeeping mission to Kosovo. He spent the day, like many Americans, glued to the news.
Watching the whole thing unfold on our chaplain's little 4-inch TV screen, one of those old radio TV type things.
When he returned to Fort Drum, it was clear the world had changed. Transport planes lined the base airfield, waiting to take the 10th Mountain to war.
I can still kind of remember the news coverage of the local news station driving by and, showing video out in the airfield of those aircraft sitting there.
This weekend, 1,000 soldiers trained especially for mountain warfare are heading to Uzbekistan. North Country Public Radio's David Summerstein has this report.
And everybody was kind of like, when are we going? When are we going? These aircraft are here. And then eventually they did. It was just kind of one of those things that one day those aircraft were gone. And it was like, okay, where to go?
The destination was Uzbekistan, and then eventually Afghanistan. Schmidt was ultimately not on that deployment, although he would later be sent to Iraq for the invasion of that country in 2003. He subsequently left the Army and earned a degree in history. He's now the historian for the National Association of the 10th Mountain Division. He says troops from Fort Drum endured harsh conditions during those early months in Afghanistan.
It was very sparse conditions, old abandoned Soviet bases. It was almost constant field conditions, dirty, grungy, nothing really in the way of showers. It was probably 6 months or so before any stuff really started flowing in, and probably, a good year or something until it started getting some of the more creature comforts.
Just as Afghanistan was changed by the 2-decade occupation, so too was Fort Drum. The Watertown base transformed from a peacetime installation to a war footing.
Fort Drum had started expanding. There were so many more soldiers. There was a constant rotation of soldiers, and there was a couple of times where Fort Drum was pretty much a ghost town. Everybody was deployed. There was just nobody. And for a good 10 to 15 years, it was just that constant rotation of deploying and fighting over in Afghanistan and Iraq.
This week, the final 10th Mountain troops in Afghanistan came home, almost 20 years after those first deployments. Schmidt is now working with the American War Letters Project to preserve correspondence like letters and emails that 10th Mountain soldiers sent home while overseas. Andrew Carroll started the initiative in the 1990s and has been collecting messages from all of the nation's wars ever since.
What I'm trying to do is really show the world, show Americans, the actual sacrifices made by troops. And it's not that the troops write about their own hardships so much, but they'll talk about the buddy they lost and other sacrifices that go beyond the battlefield of just not being there when a child is born, or missing those first words, those first steps as a parent, and just the strain it puts on relationships. I think most every military family knows this. I, as a civilian, didn't know any of this.
Carroll has collected thousands of letters, emails, and even text messages from conflicts throughout the nation's history. He says one of the most powerful letters he's found was written by 10th Mountain Sergeant Josh Harapko just before he went into a major combat operation early in the Afghanistan war.
Before Operation Anaconda, Josh handwrote a letter to his mom in the event that he was killed. And it was very much a "in case I die" letter. Fortunately, he survived Afghanistan, came home. And as I'm sure many of your listeners will know, Josh was on the helicopter that crashed at Fort Drum and tragically was killed. So his mother ended up giving us that letter, even though it wasn't about Afghanistan. It was still kind of his last words to his mom. But again, we know those letters are out there. And we want to dedicate an entire wing to the 10th Mountain Division.
11 soldiers died in that 2003 helicopter crash at Fort Drum. Another 10 Fort Drum soldiers died in a different crash in Afghanistan in 2006. Those deaths and more took their toll on Fort Drum and on the nation. But after reading letters from World War II, Vietnam, and the War on Terror, Carroll says that kind of public concern for the military often fades quickly.
Regardless of the war, after a couple years, society tires of it.
With the nation's longest war officially closed, military leaders in the North Country are looking ahead after 20 years of near constant focus on Afghanistan. Major General Milford Beagle took charge of the 10th Mountain earlier this summer. He said, "Fort Drum must be ready for anything."
We will provide ready forces for whatever and whenever our nation asks. We all must remember, our nation will never ask if we are ready. They will expect it. We will strive for relevance every single day.
They'll step into that future, missing 328 members of the 10th Mountain who have been killed overseas since 9/11. Ryan Finnerty, North Country Public Radio.
You can always get more news on our website, ncpr.org. Music today was by Tim Ellifritz of Johnsburg and Zoe Knight of Potsdam. I'm Celia Clark, North Country Public Radio.